Setlist 13 seasons. Greetings. Madness takes its toll. But listen close. I can't listen closely. Not for very much longer. Adelaide's got to keep control. I remember. No. All right. Setlist number 13. You're muted. Yeah. Okay.
Go ahead.
Anyways, so yeah, it's a new season. This will be like up in the fall, I think. So, welcome back. There's been more episodes off of our stones. Cody, Andrew, and I have yelled at each other at this point. And then we're starting off a new 12 pack, I guess, of people from the set list. Andrew, how are you feeling about this guest today and their answers?
Chaos.
Yes. This person absolutely resembles chaotic neutral, I guess you would say. I don't think they're full on.
Right. Yeah, that's about right.
You would have clicked on the title by this point, so you already know. But it's Adelaide Spence.
Oh.
Hey.
Yeet.
Yeah. So just in the span of like recording this or whatever, I've gotten to know your taste in particular on a couple of movies. Likewise, you have with mine. But yeah, what was your process like coming up with some of these answers, or were there any that were particularly hard to come up with?
There were some I knew immediately, and some took me a month to figure out. I think I'm someone who, for the longest time, I was set. Don't explore like a few artists, maybe find a new one here and there, and that's it. And in the past year, I've been trying to discover more people. That's not shown here, but Bar can account that twice a month, I'll just get him, hey, listen to this person. Normally he beats me to it, but on the off chance he doesn't, I think it's a good time. At this point, a week ago, I told him hey, have you heard of Rina Sawayama? He's like, oh yeah, I love her. I'm discovering new people and it's great. So I'm happy to have an avenue where maybe I can do that for other people.
Absolutely.
I've got a new one for you to listen to. Model actress.
Is that a person or a description?
You want noise rock, kind of punky, kind of avant-garde.
Maybe. I did just listen to Muna, so I think sad lesbians or angry lesbians is the genre right now.
Okay. All right. I'll work on that.
All right, we'll get into the meat and potatoes of the show, I guess. For those of you who haven't heard the show before, how it works is I give the guest the same 10 questions every time. So once you've heard the show for the first time, you're all set, ready to go. We'll go right into question number 1. Your favorite artist, somebody that I've never heard of before this list. But yeah, tell me about them.
Okay, I have picked Taylor Jansen, who I know one person who's heard of her, and that man is Dean Manis. Dude's the GOAT. I found her on Twitter, and I spent the last 5 minutes trying to find how I found her. Basically, I found her doing a cover of one of Paramore's ballads. I forget which one. It's oh yeah, I love Paramore.
The only exception?
Yeah, that's probably right. I looked, and I found a random obscure one. So she might have deleted it or something, but I was oh, I like her voice. Something struck with me. So I set out to listen to something. And the first thing I listened to was her first EP, Interpersonal, which is one of my favorite things ever. And this is the first artist who I felt a real connection with, where I think being able to follow someone from their creation felt really great. Because I think part of it's the generation who we consume a lot of media from, the Gen X and everything, even millennials are oh yeah, back in the 80s when I was following this band and they became big, and going to whatever that tours where it was AC/DC, Metallica, and a bunch of the biggest rock bands of all time touring together, and they can claim that. I thought that would be a fun experience to live, so I followed her, and it's just been incredibly rewarding seeing her transform from this acoustic guitar in your bedroom pouring out your feelings to now this modest pop hit who I should really take notes beforehand. Her last album, Shouting Matches, got a decent amount of play, nothing top 40, top even 200. but still like getting to a point where she toured in my city, and I fucking saw that she came here the day like she posted tour photos basically, and I missed it, and I felt so bad about it. But just it's something incredible to be able to connect someone like that. And then beyond that, we can get into it. Two of my favorite songs of all time came from Interpersonal, and that's Stations and Waiting Room. And Waiting Room especially because without like going into specifics, like the song is basically about like extreme like depression in terms of like being stuck in a mental hospital, but also just like the repetitive cycle of if you're not getting better and you're talking to a professional and working with them, at what point do you just say it's not working? Or is there any room to grow? Or are you stuck with the same person? Are you stuck with yourself even? And then that all came in COVID. So everything was just like a swirling storm of just hitting perfectly. And even if I don't love all of her songs, seeing that growth from one person is like an incredible feeling to go through.
Yeah, there's a lot to actually kind of talk about here. I agree with you in that the first two songs off of Interpersonal are great. There wasn't like you mentioned, she's quite new, so there isn't a ton of discography to go through. It's mostly EPs and then just kind of the one album. The earlier stuff, Interpersonal, I would say if you are a fan of like Martha Wainwright, and again, like you had mentioned, Adelaide, like that big singer songwriter sort of feel, I would highly recommend them. But then when you get into the album, that I don't remember the name of, I Live in Patterns. Fingers Crossed comes up to mind. That's probably one of my favorite ones. I Live in Patterns. Something Better was also another good one. But just like because she doesn't really have like her sound yet. I wouldn't be able to point her out from anything else, but I think it's a good mashup of like Carly Rae Jepsen, like Taylor Swift, a little bit of Haley Williams as well. Just the influences that have come from the 2010s since. I think this brings up an interesting conversation about EPs as well, because I think in the casual music perspective, I think a lot of people are like, oh, like artists release albums and then like there are singles off that albums and you can have these big songs off of here. It's like, I would say nay, because I think EPs can do just as an effective of a job. You may not have the same quantity as you would an album, but I think you can have a more personal release. Like if you're going for maybe a very like niche concept, or if you want to go for a certain genre, then absolutely. Actually one of my favorite songs in my top 500 list is actually just from an EP. Yeah,
well, I think even on top of that, like I think the idea of an EP is interesting to me. It's like I think albums can sometimes sort of feel like very like meandering in a way that artists sometimes are just like filling track lists of like, oh hey, we can't release an album with like 6 songs. Let's pad some stuff. And there's a lot of albums like the no skips is hard to find. A lot of it's just like, oh yeah, that sort of exists. But like again, I love Interpersonal because even though like again, Stations and Waiting Room are incredible, Better Now kills me. Like that is a tough and then even Colorblind, which is like it's the worst song there, but it's still fantastic. Like there's no desire for more. It's like I had a really good plate of nachos. That's not dinner. But why would I say no to fucking nachos? Like
no, absolutely. And then like I really like.
Hold up now. Wait a moment.
You legit scared me.
Real quick. Hold on. Nachos are a legitimate dinner. You add some chicken. You get some cheese.
I think for lunch, yeah. But I think dinner,
for dinner,
like,
for supper, absolutely. Like there's restaurants here that thrive off of like, hey, here's 12 different kinds of nachos that you can get.
Yeah, how dare you?
Poutine is dinner, or nachos is a snack.
Like, you know how many servers have munched on nachos like this summer alone? it's their food. But yeah, I'm trying to think of like other artists that I would have picked up right from the get-go. Nothing really that really kind of continued. Like there were some punk bands here and whatnot. But yeah, this has been a really good choice. I'd highly recommend checking them out, and hopefully they put up more stuff soon.
Yeah.
Now,
I'll also shout out, like, in terms of in that realm as well, Renee Rapp is someone who's newer that I'm getting into. She has one album and one single, no misses. She's fantastic, and she's also in Mean Girls on Broadway.
Okay. All right, on to question number 2. Your favorite song to dance to. I butchered it, admittedly, at the start. But yeah, tell us about that dance that we do sometimes.
This doesn't dance. Like, unless it's the cha-cha slide of the instructional boogie, I can't do shit. So this is exactly what I need to. Gay theater kid and instructions? That's perfect. Like, again, with everything that I am, how am I not going to love Rocky Horror Picture Show? Like, this is a song that I attach to and a show that I attach to from, like, a relatively young age. So being able to just, like relive the joy of everything going on with the song and the movie, and I don't need to think, like, I don't know. I think there's a lot of fun in the idea of, I guess, like, being constricted in the sense of I don't need to, like, think about it. Like, there's really a sense of joy and just, like, brain off, do what everyone else is doing, and have that shared experience.
So I think that Rocky Horror Picture Show is now tied with Hamilton as the most talked about, like, movie on the show. Like, I know, like, Hamilton obviously has the musical answer kind of locked in for now, but whether it's been, like, favorite score, favorite musical, it kind of fits in a bunch of different places. But Rocky Horror Picture Show has become the kind of the go-to like, acceptable, like, objective answer, I guess. The first time that I heard Time Warp was in grade 9 on a band trip. There was a bunch of bands from, like, all different schools or whatever. We got together for a dance. They threw onto this song, and I go to my buddy who was he would have been a junior to my freshman. And I look over to him, and the song comes on. I'm like, I've never heard the Time Warp, and he's like, and this guy. His name, by the way, is Cowboy Ross, and he has been called Cowboy Ross for well over a decade. And he's like, "Oh, you've never heard of the Time Warp?" And, like, took the time to, like, show me the dance and really appreciate the song. And it helped too because the video was kind of, like, on in the corner, so I think it was like a video dance party. But I fell in love with that song ever since. Even whenever Glee kind of butchered the song.
Okay, I will defend that episode to my last dying breath. It is not a good adaptation, but it is a fun episode.
Yeah, and they killed the bridge part, like, where I was walking down the street just to having a bang. I forget what character does it, but they just don't give it justice. I find. But they do a better version, I think, of Damn It, Janice.
Let's not use the word better, because this is S tier, and then Glee and, like, the live concert version with Laverne Cox are about an equal level.
So what you're saying is Rocky Horror Picture Show is like Subway, and then Glee is kind of like Quiznos.
Subway is the worst fast food chain, and I will die on that hill.
I would hard disagree on that. They are actually, like,
their food quality is disgusting.
If you nitpick them,
You're damn right it is.
Yes,
no, absolutely no. If you nitpick the menu to a specific way, it can be the healthiest fast food option that you have. Literally, what I get there is I get a salad with just spinach, chicken, and red onions, and, like, just like a little bit of dressing.
Raw red onions is fucking.
Why go to Subway then?
Right, just
because I can have better sandwiches elsewhere. Like, when I want salad. Yes. What? Is there like a better? Okay, then where's the best spot to get a salad?
There's a place that opened up near me called Mezza, where it's like a Mediterranean Chipotle, and it's fucking great.
We just got one of those.
Go there. That's like basically a salad, but it's so fucking good.
Okay. All right, enough about food talk. We'll probably come back to that at some point. On to question number 3. Your favorite song on the top 500.
I'm hoping that this is on the list because I was like, I multiple sources, like, it wasn't sure, and then you all said you guess. Alanis Morissette is a fucking goddess. She has done nothing wrong, and You Ought to Know is one of the greatest songs ever. Like, I think there's something about I think music is meant to rejuvenate the soul in a way. And this is every single shitty breakup, fuck you, I'm burning your stuff to the ground song. Just all those feelings mashed into 3 perfect minutes. And part of it's I'm going to love it because it's in Booksmart, which is incredible.
Yes.
But as we get
Booksmart's just a great fucking soundtrack in general.
That too. Yeah, fucking no skips. But I think there's something special about I have a lot of musical theater on this list that we'll get to, but in terms of if we're doing karaoke or we're singing along or I need to feel an emotion, this is always happy anger. Not I'm gonna kill everyone and hate the world. This is the shared experience with friends of everything sucks, nothing is right, but at least we have each other and sharing a feeling, if that makes sense. But it's also, I don't know. I think there's something hard to describe about just abject joy. I don't know how to use words to put that into sentences.
Yeah. So yeah, this is we obviously not talked about this before on the show. Big Canadian Alanis Morissette. This is her kind of her pinnacle of singles. It's crazy that fucking Flea is on this as well. It's crazy that he kind of adds that. I think she is very sharp with her lyrics. I mean, as soon to get to the line of I hate to bug you in the middle of dinner. It was a slap in the face. How quickly was I replaced? And are you thinking of me when you? And then when she slows down to when you fuck her, to kind of really get the emphasis there. I have 2 questions for you. One, what are your thoughts on Jagged Little Pill in general? I like the song, but I don't think it's my favorite off of hers. I think See Right Through You might be my favorite off of this. But also to settle a bet between Andrew and I, is All I Really Want a good song or a bad song?
So I gotta be honest, this isn't an album I've listened to in full a lot of the time. Part of it was just because I was sort of sitting and waiting on it so I could watch the show, because I was following it as it was being developed and I was very excited.
Yeah.
And then it went to shit because it's sort of really transphobic. So I haven't really had time to rejuvenate interest in the album as a whole. I love the singles.
Sorry. The show, I'm blanking on what you're
the broader musical. Basically, there's a trans non-binary character who was in the off-Broadway version, and in Broadway adaptations, they were cut. All references to it were cut, and that was handled really poorly.
Yeah, no.
And directors, creators spoke out against it, everything like that. So
I recently had to cut my love of the NHL for their hey, let's not celebrate Pride like the other 4 major sports do. So yeah, no.
That's why I am not shopping at Target anymore.
Yeah, that's why I don't go to Chick-fil-A despite everybody saying that they have amazing chicken sandwiches.
King shit. But yeah,
I'm overrated anyway.
Okay.
It's again, I love You Ought to Know. I love Ironic. It's those are great. I'll probably get to the album eventually, maybe even a full binge of her discography, but not now.
Also with You Ought to Know, I like the updated versions of this one. She did a slower release one not too long ago. It had some cellos, and I think it still packs just as much of a punch, especially when she slows down and then she kind of ramps it up towards the end. Yeah. All right, on to question number 4. Your favorite concert that you've been to, and this is another repeat answer. This one's becoming pretty popular with the kids. Not this concert, but this person in general.
Really?
In general. Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay, that's fucking cool. Yeah. So I discovered Postmodern Jukebox, as we all did, on YouTube randomly. Oh yeah, here's a cover of a song I like. Let's see how it goes. And I will say, for their first, I think they started in 2013. For their first 5 years, barely any misses. It's insane to have that high level of success and quality over such a long period of time. I don't love their newer stuff. Good cover. I don't love their newer stuff, but I think in that 5-year period was just an incredible work ethic and everything there. And they were one of the only bands that I openly loved, shared with my parents, and were cheap. So for my birthday, or for my 17th birthday, they got me tickets. I took one of my best friends at the time. And we got literally front row seats for like $40. It is right. They were international tour, cheap as shit.
Ticket prices these days are fucking bonkers. Like, my friend was looking at Billy Joel tickets in Minnesota. The cheapest thing that she could find is $250 US for like basically nosebleeds.
I was talking to my friends yesterday, and we'll get to it later, about like how the hell is Taylor Swift literally able to sell out in every city, like major city around the world, for multiple nights, and the economy is in shape. Like, who can afford that?
That is Shania Twain in Canada right now. She is charging similar prices, but like all of her shows are fucking sold out.
And Beyonce doing the same thing at the same time. Like,
yeah. So back to Postmodern Jukebox. So Kelly actually had this as her favorite artist. So we did a nice little deep dive with this. The song that has been stuck in my head from these guys is their cover of Umbrella. I just think it has a fucking nice swing to it. Oh my god, what's his name? The clown guy, the sad clown, the guy who does all the small things. Yes, Pebbles. He's 50-50. He's either really good or really bad. But also like the four-handed double bass solo and all about that bass. I know Kelly talked about like her love of the cover Creep. I missed what Mr. Producer Man put up there. But yeah,
it's Puddles the clown.
Oh, Puddles. Yeah. Anyways, I think that's it. On to question number 5. Your favorite music video.
Okay, so this comes at a great time because this was pushed back a lot, and luckily by doing this, Patrick H. Willems, our king and savior, released a video about, is Taylor Swift the next great director? Because she's been directing her music videos, which are incredibly visually stimulating. And he has a whole section about how Mark Romanek is one of the most like influential like faces of music videos today because he informed her style. And now she's doing everything. And that came to a head in the greatest music video of the 21st century. I'm not going to claim before because I'm dumb and don't know a lot from there besides Weird Al Yankovic. But All Too Well 10 Minutes is fantastic. He slanders it in the video because like it's too literal. I don't give a shit. It's just, I don't know. There was a lot of like fighting when this came out. It's like, oh, it's a short film when it's a fucking music video. Calm down. But it's just, again, like I'm attracted to like the language of film and the idea of telling a story. Again, like I prefer literal everything, and just getting two powerhouse actors to literally sell a relationship that a lot of Taylor Swift fans or Swifties or anything in that spectrum followed intensely. So every little nitpick and niche and background detail is relevant to the relationship that you're following. And as someone who knows a lot of girls who have dated older men who treat them like shit, it's an incredibly like empathizing experience to see it play out, of Sadie Sink getting like verbally abused and twisted and coerced into everything going on and not really being aware of it until it's too late. And it just looks incredible. Like I think there's the nature even captured in it is like that's a place I want to live. Like I think there's something like really engaging about like secondhand life experiences you had a lot of the time and seeing it all put together, of like basically like to me this song and this music video is little puzzle pieces of all of my friends' lives coming to a head into the like with someone who is like the biggest pop sensation maybe of all time, at the very least of my lifetime. Like that is insane to know that like she is like a normal person, and it's hard to connect with that. And even it coming to a head like which is like I think it's a little weird outside of like being a big Taylor Swift fan, but then literally she is at the end of the music video herself, like she is like redirectly profiting and sharing this story as Taylor Swift, as her in the music. I've mentioned Sadie Sink and Dylan O'Brien being fucking incredible. I mentioned it before. Patrick H. Willems did a whole video about this. I recommend it. Taylor Swift, this is like her only video going from abstract of like your most recent one, Lavender Haze, being like very like broad metaphors about the literal lyrics that she's singing. This is straight up, this is a narrative, this is basically a poem being translated to the screen. And it's just incredibly engaging in a way that like when she makes her feature debut, I am seeing it. Because she has an eye behind the camera for the depth and attention to detail in front of the camera that I think most people can't even dream to get close to.
Yeah, so I'll start with where I kind of got introduced with this song. So the first time I heard this song was on the drive home from like an all-day sort of festival thing. We were doing it for work. We were catering to a bluegrass festival. It was a long day, like really stressful. So on the drive home, we a buddy of mine threw on a song. We listened to it, and I'm like, oh, this is a fucking incredible song. This was before like the Taylor's version came out, this version came out, like the whole like big boom of it on SNL. And then all that stuff kind of happened. And then here's where I kind of stand. The Taylor's version is the best. This music video is fucking unreal, but the song is overproduced to a fault. Like there's too much harmony in it. I like some of the story, but I think it gets too literal at times. I do like the pieces that have kind of been there from the entire time. Like you call me up again just to break me like a promise. So casually cruel in the name of being honest. I think that that line hits me, and just watching this video, and especially when you get to like kind of the in-between part of Sadie Sink and Dylan O'Brien fighting, and like you want to punch Dylan O'Brien because he's being a fucking like gaslighting dick. And then like they make up and like they hug, and then the music cuts in, and then you see Sadie Sink's like just the look in her eyes of just like, oh, I'm just back in the same cycle that I am. This video makes you reflect on your own previous relationships and kind of like what could have, like all the things that kind of like went wrong in them and whatnot. And it's just like it's a very humbling music video. I will agree with you, but not necessarily confirm that this is the best music video of the 2000s. I would have to really do like a big deep dive, but this is definitely immediately in the conversation. Yeah. I am going to bring Andrew in on this because I think this is a really kind of big talking point. Have you seen this video? What are your thoughts? Yeah, what are your thoughts on the song? Because I don't remember when we did talk about this back in the day.
See, as we wait for him, I will add.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I'll add it as we're waiting for him. I think that the power of the song, again, like I think that it's like you don't connect to all of it. I think that Taylor has a great way of basically like there is a universality and specificity. You don't need to. I think the idea of just like, oh, broad, oh, I have a heartbreak, period. Like, yeah, we do, but I don't think we really care about like everyone having that shared emotion. But the specifics of the refrigerator, of like those lyrics that you're talking about. What the fuck, bar? This is like whatever. Watch it. Give it like 5 stars on Letterboxd. Make Scully mad. And then like me,
can you rate this of Letterboxd?
Yeah, I think I have it like 4 stars, like 4.5. And like I'm big fan, but I don't like watch a lot of music videos. And then like to me, the lyric that is like the killer of it all is, "But you kept my old scarf from that very first week because it reminds you of innocence." That is to me, like that's the nail in the coffin of like Jake Gyllenhaal, you fucking bastard. Like they're basically going after younger girls. I'll also shout out Dear John, same thing. He dated Kiernan Shipka like 2 years ago. Miss Girl, like she's barely an adult. Fuck John Mayer.
Yikes. All right, we'll move on to question number 6 then. Your favorite musical. And yeah, I'm not sure if this is quite a home run yet for me, but this is a solid like double in the gap.
Okay. I think Hadestown is not only the best musical ever written, maybe one of the greatest pieces of art of all time. I will defend that to my dying breath. I think that this has a style of music that we don't really see on Broadway a lot of the time. And I'm attracted a little bit more to the new and unique ideas. I came to this actually because for Your List Sucks, I was on a top 10 musicals episode. And I was like, hey, I've been following this since it was first written, let alone like gotten to like rehearsals off Broadway, then to off Broadway, everything. So I was like, this is finally time for me to watch in 2020. It destroyed me, like absolutely wrecked me. And I felt like my worldview changed in a way that no piece of art has ever impacted me that way. I think that the way that the music is basically on repeat for the whole show, where little bits and pieces are reused in other songs or inverted or changed into other characters' themes, the background of everything. It is so smartly written and dense and brilliant. And I think that the actual tale of Orpheus and Eurydice is just one of the most powerful pieces of fiction ever created, of someone who loved someone so much, but at the end of the day, doubt came in, and that one moment of weakness is the thing that changed their lives forever and ruined him. And even her she didn't know how to trust people, and when she finally was building that trust for someone who truly loved her, the second he got distracted, it was her spiraling and fear of nothing. Like, I'm with another person who's going to destroy me. I need to leave immediately. I'll also say that, like, incredibly personally, goddamn, I literally just lost the song. All I've Ever Known is maybe my favorite song of all time. It was like incredibly personal. Like, it's something that like me and my partner, it's sort of like our song that reminds us of each other. So I'm always gonna connect to it. There's a comfort I find, like, as we'll see it more coming forward, like just love stories that I attract myself to. And I know so many people like Eurydice, and I see a lot of myself in Orpheus, and even then, like the support system he has with Hermes, and the bastard, like the fucking horrible man that is Hades, but still that ounce of humanity in him that was lost but then found. There's so much, to the point that even like two massive core memories for me right now is when Amber Gray's last show of Hades Town was playing. There's a video that was recorded on Twitter of her singing like Raise Our Cup, and she can't get through the song. She is crying deeply because how much like the show meant to her. I didn't even see that shit live, but just seeing that on Twitter of that love for it, I can't listen to Raise Our Cups without crying myself. It's that much to me. And then I finally saw the show live back in June. Or no, October. I cried for 2.5 hours straight because it felt like this is my life. I literally can't do anything better than this. Like, I think that there's something special about I've found a piece of art which is so emotionally resonant for me that I was literally crying during like the last 20 minutes all the way through. The second we get to Epic 3, I am not able to recover, because it's not even like, oh, the show, like, oh, it's like this emotional set, like part of the show. I physically cannot handle leaving this, because that is how emotionally invested art like makes me.
Yeah. So whenever I was at New York, I had the option of seeing either Hades Town, Lion King, and Book of Mormon. I ended up choosing the Book of Mormon. But after listening to the soundtrack, God damn it, I need to go back and watch this because this is right up my fucking alley. I just think that like folksy kind of Cajun vibe really kind of shines through in it. You get to like way down Hades Town. You mentioned All I've Ever Known. I think that's another really, really beautiful one. You also have Why We Build the Wall. I think it's really good. Patrick Page, is that the guy who plays?
Yeah.
His
voice. That's the one from the show that I would cut. I'm not a fan of it.
Oh, really? No, I love his voice and his introduction. It's very brooding. And then probably my favorite thing about We Raise Our Cups and what it separates itself from other musicals, and is that like I think with theater in general, I think there's a big kind of notion of like, all right, it's final number, end it with a bang, and then we'll send them home. This one is like, no, we are going to gracefully kind of like let you down, and then you'll be able to kind of like softly just kind of go. And I think it does a really good job of that. Also, Andre the Shields, I believe, the kind of like the almost like the narrator, like the character, the guy,
the original
guy.
Hermes, yeah.
Yeah, Hermes, yeah. So he does a really good job of just kind of being like the expositional guy, and I think that can be kind of overlooked in Broadway, especially because you have to keep kind of moving the plot along. I think it does a really good job. But yeah, I really want to go check this one out like live because I think it just like similar to how I felt with Book of Mormon, how to kind of enhance songs and like even songs that like I didn't really pick up on this time. I could have this new kind of appreciation for them. But yeah, a friend had recommended this to me as well. So I think this is definitely kind of getting in the conversation of like all-time greats.
It is coming to Canada in the next like year and a half. So lots of I don't know what you're close to. I will add that
so Halifax would be we're actually so Book of Mormon is coming to Halifax in I think the end of the month or like early next month. But we'll see.
My other fun thing about Raise Our Cups is like watching it live. It is basically like an epilogue in the sense of Road to Hell Reprise is the closing of the show. Eurydice is stuck in hell. Everything is reset. We tell the story, hoping it changes, and it doesn't. The show ends, curtains, back up, Raise Our Cups. People are literally leaving the show. Actually, no. Bows happened before Raise Our Cups. So people are literally leaving during bows, and they're like, oh, the show's over, and they don't know that the show is still going on.
No.
Yeah. So it was fun where I stand up as like mid applause, and then they go into it. I'm like, you guys are fucking leaving during this? Bastard. Like, you have to be here for Raise Our Cups.
All right, on to question number 7. Your most overrated artist, and this is surprising given one of your previous answers.
Oh, okay. I'm curious where it's gonna go then, but like if I will just say like one of my options here was the Eagles, which I know that you would have hated me picking. Which
I've heard that and I've heard that enough at this point that I'm like, I understand, but I'm still gonna defend.
Yeah, it was literally just like it's the idea of I don't listen to a lot of like I listen to like the biggest hits. So I think overrated always gonna be like, oh, where can I find a flaw? Like, I don't like dad rock, and that's like they're one of the falters there. Ed Sheeran.
What?
Ed Sheeran's
what?
Okay.
What the fuck?
Which where
How dare you?
Hey, older coho, come in the show and say something if you want. Like I'll welcome the arguments. Ed Sheeran, yeah. He's just not someone who I think has made a positive impact on the music industry, where he just feels like the most like Walmart pop star that you could create. Like it's something where I do genuinely enjoy some of his songs. I think like the A-Team, like a really good like early single. I even like I think it's really cringy, but I enjoy it. That song where he raps.
Shape of You.
Sing is yeah, right. Yeah,
that song where he raps that encapsulates maybe 25% of Ed Sheeran songs.
No, I know, but I'm saying like that's one of the few that I like. Like I think generally his like vague poppy like singer soundtrack indie vibe is something that sort of like is the like there's two camps of modern music of that and then like mega superstar like selling out stadiums. I don't love what he's done. There are artists that I like who fall under that umbrella, like Taylor Jansen, who I think is sort of similar in the genre of what he does. But everything he does feels very inauthentic and overproduced, but not in the sense of like, oh, there's a lot of sounds, but just in the way that like it's gone through so many people that I lost any emotional connection to it. Like Taylor Swift is someone who, again, like you said earlier, she like some of her overproduced. I'll agree. Reputation overproduced. Some of Midnight's overproduced. I can still enjoy it though because of the
Midnight's is her best album.
It's just it's like fourth. It's pretty good. Speak Now is number 1. Ed, there is an idea of Taylor Swift that is still present all of her music that has never left. Ed Sheeran does not have a personality. He is a walking French fry. I don't give a fuck about him. He's in Yesterday as this is like one of the biggest pop stars in the world. He plays himself. He's like, oh yeah, he's just a dude. There's no like grandiose like, oh my god, he's like all of us. No, he's just some fucking guy. Like, with all the love in the world, he could lead a production of Once, one of my other favorite musicals, and I would have no interest in it. Even though he fits the role of guy. I don't give a fuck because he is so uninteresting and bland as a personality. He has no seasoning. It's like, oh, pepper? Spicy. That's his whole vibe.
So okay, that's another tangent because there's one like when you go into a certain like Latin American countries, you would think like, oh, like this place like loves spicy food, and they're like, no, like when you go to Cuba, like pepper is too spicy for them. But I apologize for the dog in the background. Ed Sheeran, yeah, you kind of mentioned it earlier. Taylor Jansen is kind of taking a similar path, but I agree with you in that Ed Sheeran songwriting can be a little inauthentic at times. So like he's just like he has the formula to what makes him popular. I agree with you. A-Team, Lego House is great. I do think though that he has taken like his brand or whatever of being like kind of like this ambassador for like UK and like Irish pop, and then he makes a song called Galway Girl, which is already has this reputation, but it isn't though, because if you go to like the actual like other version of Galway Girl that they play in like P.S. I Love You and like that is already renowned as a song,
is it a cover?
No, it's an entirely different song. Like,
okay.
Like Galway Girl here is like an almost like a bar staple. Like you almost have to play it here at any show. So when he does this one, that's just like it's modernized. It's like really fast fiddle that doesn't really have any technique to it, and he brings in this rap, and it's just like no, like the song already exists. Just call it something else. Because I think especially when that song is so. Or like me, obviously, I'm not from Ireland or UK, but like I would feel like if that's featured in something like "P.S. I Love You," that it has sort of an attachment to the country itself. And then yeah, he's kind of like taken the Pitbull-esque route of like let's collaborate with a bunch of people. Eminem, Justin Bieber.
But Pitbull is so funny.
Is he funny or is he a meme?
Gotta go back in time. He's in Aquaman. Like, come on. He stole Africa for Aquaman. That's funny as shit.
Okay, we'll move into question number 9. Not number 9, number 8. What is your favorite score?
Okay. I talked about this before. There's another like I was just like if Beale Street Could Talk, I think it's one of the greatest scores of all time. It has the same thing with Hadestown about reusing themes through the whole soundtrack. But there's a specific reason why I attached to this. And it goes back to getting my relationship with my partner. I'm one of those gross people who's like, oh, I was talking about the relationship. But we've already agreed, like if we have a formal wedding, Agape in this soundtrack is playing at like a momentous part because I think it's maybe the greatest instrumental piece of music ever written. Sorry, classical sluts. Sorry, bar. I think it is so hard to like you like old people music, bar. I'm speaking to you. Like you know what I'm saying. I think like you like Fantasia.
Yes.
The idea that this classical piece of music with no lyrics, no real guide towards story is able to paint such a picture, a clear idea of this is like the story the song is telling without any hints. Agape is the only song I feel like does that. Where if this was independent of all of the movie, if I were to just listen to it, I could feel the emotional swells and dips and waves of every relationship that every person's ever been in and connecting.
Okay, so I really like this movie. I do like the do like the scenes and how they accent them. I think the strings in this are done really well. Like I think it's really good use of just kind of like minimalistic. Like there's only like 2 or 3 in the mix, and I think it just does just this really good job of kind of capturing the emotion and just kind of the overall heaviness of the beat. I think the last song that they play, like in the closing credits, it's a fucking banger. I forget the name of it. I was trying to look it up on the soundtrack. But I think that just adds so much power into it as well. But yeah, like when you have these intimate moments between Fonny and oh my god, what's the other person's name? Like the actual
Tish.
Yeah. Any scenes that they have, like they almost have like an instrument sort of tied with them, and I love that usage in movies. But yeah, this, like when I was talking earlier about how I've kind of understood what makes it an Adelaide movie. What makes an Adelaide movie is that there has to be some heavy subject matter. Like you got to think about this movie. Shit has to go down. Stakes have to be involved. Like I think the first 20 minutes of this movie is like thrilling and kind of tense as fuck. Like when the parents are there and like they're sipping a drink and like she's there and she's like I have to tell these people, like, do I tell these people that I'm pregnant? But I can't say no to a drink. But it's just, yeah, I think it's cool. I'm excited to check this one out again. Andrew, have you seen sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna ask Andrew if he's seen the movie.
Oh, you should watch it. It's great. I was like 2 other pieces of music that I like can remember like viscerally in like the emotionality of it is like when Fonny and Tish are like getting an apartment together and they're like buying it from Dave Frank or anything. Like again, like Agape comes back in its own like in like a distorted way of like again reliving that joy of like Agape is the idea of basically following the rise and fall of a relationship, and that first apartment like happiness, it comes back in there and then it's like reverted into like this is the specific emotion you're feeling, and then the down part of it comes back when Fonny's talking to Brian Tyree Henry about like what happened with himself and his experience in the prison system, and then the darker aspect of the tone gets shifted, and it's like this is the skeletal work of every piece of music in the rest of the film, and the way that it's able to evolve off of this fucking masterpiece, I can't comprehend how someone does that. Nicholas Britell is like a mastermind. He made Don't Look Up moderately easy to sit through because of his score. How does someone do that?
Yeah, this is like I think like when I listen to Agape in general, I immediately want to go to like kind of like John Williams and see like kind of the differences that they have, and like John Williams is a little bit more explosive, I find, like where it's like adding instruments and whatnot, whereas this one it takes almost like a horror element of it, of like let's subtly add in these instruments and really let the volume of the music kind of come in naturally, as opposed to like kind of forcing it in with this kind of introduction with it. So I think it does a really good job of that. But yeah, we'll take a quick little pause right here.
Yes, thank you.
You're muted again.
Son of a bitch. I have to talk about my boy Ed Sheeran.
Well, why didn't you?
Because you didn't bring me in that time. Okay. I was trying to be polite.
Sorry.
So, I will give you this. Ed is, I think, a little inconsistent. God, my hair is awful right now. He's a little inconsistent. Sometimes there are things that do seem a little overproduced, like they were made like they were written for someone else and not necessarily for him. But when you stack that up against songs like Lego House, Visiting Hour, A Fire Love, Castle on the Hill, and Life Goes On from his new album, which is way better than people are giving it credit for,
I do think
highs are incredible.
Yeah, his duet of "Perfect" with Beyonce is really good. Like, it's sad that kind of got taken off for his own single version.
I'm not gonna lie, I think that song's a little bit overrated.
Oh,
I do.
Okay.
I to me, it's just thinking out loud part 2, but just like.
See, I
watered
think
down.
I think thinking out loud is overrated. I just think that's like John, like it's bare bones John Mayer.
I think you think one or the other is overrated, depending on how much you like one or the other.
That's fair.
Oh, all right.
Okay.
If one of you are accompanying John Mayer, I will find you. We'll break
What?
your knees.
Oh yeah, right. Sorry, forgot about that. Separate the art from the artist.
He's still alive, so maybe not now.
Fair enough. Sorry. The other thing, because before we get back into it, because I forgot to mention about Hadestown. I'm gonna try to trigger you, Adelaide, and see if this works. So I'm gonna put the chips down. What are you gonna do when the chips are down? Okay. The chips are down. I just want to let you know that the chips are down. I'm gonna make a song.
Later in that song,
I'm gonna make a song where they repeat that line like 50 times.
That's on TikTok already.
It's
you can't beat TikTok.
That's another fucking
Checkmate, Brainiac.
We're talking about like how people discover music now. People discover music now on TikTok. Like nobody goes to like MySpace, or nobody takes like a deep dive through YouTube anymore. It's like, what are the trends? And if you can become viral, then okay, let's just get back into the show. Maybe this will stay in, maybe this won't. All right, we'll get with a little like un, deux, trois. Second answer. All right, 3, 2, 1. You voted 1 twice. 2, 1. Clap. All right. Let's go back right into question number 9. Fuck it. Jesus. What is your favorite soundtrack? And this is surprisingly good.
Oh, have you ever seen the movie before?
I haven't seen the movie, but I'm a big fan of this. Big fan of this band already. So,
okay, let's be clear here, y'all. ABBA is one of the greatest bands to ever exist. We agree? We agree.
Yes.
Disco is not dead yet. I hate the first Mamma Mia film. They hired actors who cannot sing. But unsurprisingly, to anyone who knows me, I fucking love Mamma Mia. Here we go again. It is, once again, one of the purest... Well, what's the word? Fuck. One of the purest creations of abject joy in the universe.
You're damn right it is.
I'm back on Bar's side. I talked about this with Michael Campbell a few times. One of the greatest movie scenes of all time is... Oh, my brain is falling fucking apart. Holy shit. Dancing Queen. In the movie, where I don't know if you watch the scene coming into it. Like, the whole thing is basically everything is going to shit. She put so much time and money into renovating her mother's hotel. And nothing's gonna happen until hurricane came through, destroyed everything. She's like, "What can I do?" And then two of her dads are stuck at the harbor. Nothing that can happen. But by being a good person, 40 years ago, he recognizes someone and says, "Hey, I can help you. What do you need?" When everything seems wrong, one of her friends is like, "Hey, look to the horizon, pull out a telescope." And Stellan Skarsgård and Colin Firth are spooning Titanic style on 3 planes, doing a massive coordinated dancing number to fucking Dancing Queen. And they're all dancing through the piazza in fucking Greece. And it is beautiful. And it is such fucking joy. And that's not even talking about Lily James. Literally, goddess Aphrodite Athena coming to Earth in human form in this movie. Like I know 2 teams called Waterloo in trivia because I think that scene is incredibly just like happy and it fills my soul with something. They're fighting with baguettes. That's so cute. And then again, it went viral on TikTok. Make sure I get the song name right. Why Did It Have to Be Me? Where Lily James and Josh Dillon is his name are like tangoing on the side of a boat, and he dips her, and it's like, is this what are we doing here? You're both hot, you're gonna fuck, we know this. And there's just such joy in every little bit of this, of just, this is the greatest experience any person can have ever. She gets stuck in a storm and like, oh, that sucks. And she finds a horse and it likes her. There's no sadness here. When things are hard, her boyfriend cheats on her. You immediately go to her singing not Super Troopers. She sings Mamma Mia with Donna and the Dynamos. Whoop all day, or Single Day and Whoop all night. It has the line, "Be still my beating vagina." There is no moment of sadness in this. I put in it before that, like, I enjoy being sad, but if I need to just sit there and be happy, this will never miss a beat.
So yeah, I adore ABBA. They're just a spoonful of sugar that keeps on coming. I think that there are some really good renditions in this. I think Knowing Me, Knowing You is a really good one. We haven't even talked about fucking Cher and her rendition of Fernando. I think that's my favorite song in this. What? No. Okay. No. Bring up the what gif.
We all agree that's the worst song in the soundtrack. Everyone agrees. Besides like the 10 seconds Pierce Brosnan sings.
No. You want to talk about the...
You're damn right it is.
You want to talk about the worst song on Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again? Let's talk about Hugh Skinner singing in Waterloo.
You are a disgusting piece of crap.
I don't want to hear Nigel Thornberry sing Waterloo. I don't want an old dad be like. I understand why dads would love this song because it's about history. Like, how would you feel when you won the war? So it's just like I hate it, but at the same time, like, I almost want to go on YouTube and like old guys like singing Waterloo because I think it's so bad that it's good.
What the hell is this, bro? This is not proper.
I'm gonna put a link in the chat that you can watch in your own time. It's a video essay about this movie where this guy spends 20 minutes on how, in the filmmaking language, this is fucking stupid because it goes from diegetic to non-diegetic back to diegetic storytelling with the music, where he is like a foppish fucking idiot where he's like, I've never had sex before, but if you're interested, can I and she's like, no, that's fucking weird. Why? And then he just like starts slowly just singing about all the great wars he got, which is like a weird song to put there. But they're in a French restaurant, and through the power of his words and ABBA, eventually the whole restaurant starts dancing and singing along with him. Or again, he's having a sword fight with baguettes. And the way the song finishes is they both start goosenecking to each other. Like, it doesn't make sense. It's not rational, but it is pure joy.
I'm still stuck on the Fernando being the worst song on the soundtrack. Andrew, get in here.
It adds nothing. It's just like sort of bland. Even their dancing is like just sort of like leaning.
It's still a good song though.
It's a good song. It's the worst song, but it's still good.
In a musical with a lot of great sequences, it's fine.
Okay, so sequences is an entirely different thing. Like, you guys, I can understand that. But yeah, I threw this on at work before we opened, and some of the younger staff had come in. And they're like, "Oh, Mamma Mia! I love ABBA." So it was nice. Just like it's a good crowd pleaser.
I'll say also the two clear examples of like the worst song in the movie that I'll give you is Kisses of Fire, which is like explicitly like done as a joke and not a lot of like heft behind it, what the fuck? It's I forget what song it is, where it's like, oh, it's One of Us, which is like, it's very like, that is like bland, where it's just like, oh, they're sad because long distance, and there's not a lot of like emotion behind the song, but I still like enjoy the scene around it, even though the song itself is a little underwhelming.
But Adelaide, what if God was one of us? Just a slob like one of us. Just a stranger on a bus trying to make his way home.
Jeez.
And if you watch one like number from the movie, it doesn't spoil anything, so I'd recommend it, is Super Troopers, where it's like, that is the credit song, where everyone is just in ABBA big neon flashy jumpsuits singing together. But specifically, every version of like the dads is duetting with their younger self, and Lily James is duetting with Meryl Streep, of like the past and the future coming together in this like limbo state of gay fireworks. Like it's amazing.
You had me a gay.
Yeah.
All right, on to the last question of the official set list. What is your favorite song to perform or sing?
I cannot sing. Clear as day. Very bad at it. But this is a song that I actually bonded with Bar over because we both agreed it is one of, if not the best, original ballads written for musicals in the 21st century. It is 17 from Heathers. I don't know what it is, but I just got almost immediately attached to this idea of I think like the idea of like you're aware that your childhood is fading is like a really interesting concept that I don't see portrayed well, because it's a lot of like edgy teenage brooding of like, oh, I have to pay taxes to the man now. But this is the idea of like, like we've gotten to the point where JD has done like unforgivable things that like are hard to ignore, let alone like find him emotionally or sexually attractive. And you know, she's going through all this and doesn't know how to do it. And then the whole song is basically just sitting here like, I don't know if I can lose you. Let's not be worried about the future. Let's focus on being 17. Do the things 17-year-olds do and just be happy at the point we're at in life and to stop focusing on everything else around you. But specifically, it's in the song of like I'll call it like the emotional coercion of like she's just sticking a hand out and waiting for him to come. I'll look up the lyrics so I can speak more like accurately on it.
So while you're looking up that, I'm gonna burst a bubble here. This song I don't like. This song's not for me. I haven't.
You are a disgusting piece of crap.
Lyrically, I completely understand why, and I think that is where the song really shines. I think I'm a sucker for like coming of age stories, and I think that's where this kind of fits. My problems with this are the arrangement and like the casting and the production in general. I believe it. So it's Barrett Wilbert Weed and then Ryan McCartan.
I know. Yes.
Yeah. So they have zero chemistry. Their voices do not mix at all. They're both very. They're both. They don't. One of them needs to have like a bigger bodied voice. Like there needs to be some more depth to it. And they kind of clash a lot. And then like part way through the song, like in the middle of it, it just loses all kind of feel. Like I feel like the musicians downstairs were just like they were just kind of told to play it as straight and clean as possible. And like there's no feel to it at all. And I just think it comes off as a little bit bland. I have
No. You've had your time. That's enough.
Yes!
That's enough to describe it.
Yes!
No. We're bringing you backstage. Bad Brooklyn. This song fucking slaps. I agree. This is one of the best songs written for musical theater of the 21st century. Just like I love you brought it up lyrically. It's just like so unique and like it really hits me emotionally. And what the fuck are we talking about? When the horns and the strings come in for that epic build towards like the middle.
Don't stop looking in my eyes, and it's just a fucking train wreck of emotions.
Just I want that to be behind me in any epic moment of my life. It sounds incredible. Brooklyn just doesn't love the wall of sound kind of style of production. No, let's be honest. He doesn't love it. He doesn't hate it, but he doesn't love it. So
Hates
that
Wonderwall, too much sound.
Yeah. No, not enough wall, too much sound.
It's a thing of like I think like again like back to the Taylor Swift thing of the specificity of universality of like this is things that they would do together, but that's every teenage experience of everything they're saying is like yes, it is special JD and Veronica, but the idea of basically like this is all of us, of everything that we want to go back and live with, like as a teenager, but also now the simplicity of it all, of just like we don't want to face adulthood or challenges, things going in the future. We just want to stay in that moment. And what I was talking about earlier is this entire first verse is Veronica just like trying to reach out to him of like, hey, I want you, I need you, I need something, I know you're hurting, let me help you. And just nothing's working. And then she says, people hurt us. And then it just clicks and he's like, or they vanish. And that's where the hand reaches out and he fucking grabs it. Of like, I am done being alone and running away from my problems. Like, yes, he's a bad dude. I don't want to like sympathize with him.
Oh yeah, but we don't. We kind of start to be like, okay, maybe he can change, and then like the end comes, which makes the song even more effective.
It's why in Freeze Your Brain, the whole thing is just like, it's like, oh yeah, I never got attached to anything. My dad and I always moved like every few months. Or like the great line of, does your mom know you eat all the crap? Not anymore, when mom was alive. Like, it's great. But this idea of finally, like, she reaches out to him of, I know how much pain you're in. And he immediately turns it around of like, this is his experience of, or they vanish. Of his mom has left him and his dad won't let him attach to people. Like, there is so much connection and longing that needs to be there that I can belt that going 90 on the fucking freeway and feel every emotion in my fucking body. My toes are curling from teen angst, and it is just an incredible feeling.
Okay, I'm gonna double down
on. You recorded that on your phone, Bar. I know you did.
I'm gonna double down on my take for the music, and I'm gonna compare it in the only way that I know how to, like a sandwich. So at the start of the song, we have this beautiful piece of bread. Like you sourced out like a good baker here. You have some like okay mustard on the sauce, like for a sauce, a little bit of butter. Then you have like the middle of this is just like fucking like not even Trader Joe's. It's like 7-Eleven ham. It's just basic ass, like just enough meat to kind of make it
have Trader Joe's in Canada.
I've been to Trader Joe's though. I understand the concept of this. Those are called farmers markets here. And then we get into that big moment that you guys are talking about. And I do agree that is a cool moment, but that is basically like arugula on like a pretty mess sandwich.
Arugula is like one of the better greens, though. Like,
exactly, though. Like that moment is good, but everything before and after it doesn't have that same like 30 seconds if that does.
But you can't empathize with like a clearly bad and toxic relationship, but these people don't know like what's better for them. Because Veronica had nothing going for her until her popularity and to JD, and then in Fight for You, she's like, oh, I'm attracted to this toxic masculinity, and I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I really want to suck his dick. Like, I think there's a lot there of just like
I've had that same dilemma myself from time to time.
Exactly. Like literally, the song literally later gets to, yeah, we're damaged, badly damaged, but your love's too good to lose. I think like a lot of us can have that, like relate to that aspect of like when we were younger and didn't know how the relationships were, being attracted to toxic and codependent and unhealthy relationships. And I think, again, everything about this just reminds me of that childhood sense of desperate desire to be mature, but also younger, and to hold on to both of those things at once. And it's hard not to feel all of those past emotions and anger and sadness coming through at once.
Nice. Okay, that is going to wrap up the actual portion of the set list. I always have a couple of little encore questions for you. So first off, who are you listening to right now? And second off, who is somebody that hasn't been on the show yet that you would like to see?
Did I talk about like Rina Sawayama during the episode, or was that beforehand?
I don't think so, no.
Okay, so right now I'm talking with my friend right now, and she's like helping me discover new music, and part of that is I got into Taylor Swift, and she's like, okay, here's some other stuff that you could like in that same realm, where it's Rina Sawayama, who has 2 albums. Her first one is a fucking masterpiece, self-titled. Go listen to it. XS and STFU are fucking iconic bangers that should be bigger. Muna is someone who I'm like right now listening to and sort of figuring that out. Part of my thing, ignore me. I know I'm disgusting. I use Amazon Music because I get it for free. but their discovery feature is what I've been using a lot, of just trying to find new songs and new artists to really get into and fall in love with. My biggest recommendations right now, that I tell everyone who I know who likes music to listen to, is Strawberry Wine by Lemon Drop, which is exactly the kind of music that I want, which is pop and a rock fucking powerhouse. Of like, it is all of the musicality of a pop song, and out of nowhere it's just fucking like full volume in your car, breaking the windows out, rock, like belting. And then Shy by Melt is basically like a new Demi Lovato song. And I don't know how else to describe it, of just like, do you want Demi Lovato, but without everything there? Also, Demi Lovato's newest album, fucking incredible. Highly recommend. But yeah, major recommendations. And beyond that, it's just musicals. Like I've been, go ahead.
No, I just popped on the version of Strawberry Wine that you're talking about, because much like Andrew probably did, I went to the Deanna Carter version, which is like this like country must that if you're ever playing it at a show. And this one is much different, and I'm actually kind of intrigued by it.
Oh, another like country, one of the few country songs I actively listen to that I really recommend is oh my god, Wine Song by Nicole Amin. It is super obscure. I don't know anyone who's even heard of the song, let alone listen to it. And it's like 2 minutes, but it's just someone like basically going through like wine addiction and withdrawal and relating it to every aspect of her like life. And it's one of those like lighter country songs where it's more about like the twang of the guitar. But it reminds me of like a song that someone would sing around a campfire. And like, wow, that's really good. Do you need therapy? And I really enjoy it.
If I can give you two recommendations off of this, one you were mentioning earlier, kind of like what like Taylor Jansen and whatnot. I would really recommend "Everything Is Boring" by the Beaches. I think that song would be.
I fucking love the Beaches. They're so good.
For another time. We have
Late
to.
Show.
We have to.
Late
go,
Show is so good.
God damn it! All right. Okay, we're talking about this later. So cheers, guys, on a unexpected cliffhanger of a moment. Andrew, thank you for producing as always, or Mr. Producer Man rather. For Adelaide,
Don't give me credit. He will come find me.
Okay, sorry. Yeah. All right, for Adelaide, Andrew, and myself. Cheers, guys, and as always, drive safely.